I don't feel that this is a country whose citizens by and large are aware that they are at war. It passes people by. And the reason it passes people by is because there is no conscription, there's no draft. And the draft, which used to affect every single family, also meant that these families were compelled for deep personal reasons to debate and discuss politics and to ask each other, why are we fighting this war?
We felt that doing nothing in a period of repressive violence is itself a form of violence. That's really the part that I think is the hardest for people to understand. That if you sit in your house and live your white life and go to your white job and allow the country that you live in to murder people and to commit genocide, and you sit there and you don't do anything about it, that's violence.
On September 11, 2001, 19 men hijacked 4 airplanes and used them to murder nearly 3,000 people.
1 million Iraqis plus have died since Iraq was occupied. I mean, if any other power had done it, there would be talk of war crimes tribunals and carting people off to The Hague to be tried and charged for genocide.
They took the lives of innocent men, women, and children without regard to their faith or race or station.
Some months ago, the uprising against electoral fraud in Iran, and when one innocent person, woman, died, President Obama, with moist eyes, went public and said that he was deeply upset. But that very same day, a US drone killed 60 people in Pakistan, mainly women and children. The president, on whom lots of hopes rested during the election campaign.
I campaigned and for Obama, and I went to the protest at Hofstra University for the debate.
I did campaign for Obama during the primaries.
And these young people, some of you too, I imagine, who campaigned for Obama, certainly hoped that he was going to be a peace president, that this was going to be a president who would bring the peace dividend. Well, not in my part of the world.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have determined that it is in our vital national interest to send an additional 30,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan.
Domestic politics is the driving force behind so much of our foreign policy. Democratic presidents, especially JFK, LBJ, and I think Obama, are deathly afraid of being painted as weak, soft.
Graham Fuller argued that the presence of the U.S. is part of the problem, not the solution. Now, when the CIA chief in a country actually says this in public, he should be taken seriously.
Have the lessons of Vietnam been lost? They've been nuanced to death.
There's very little interest in the youth anymore because back in the 60s they were worried about being drafted and perhaps dying on the battlefields in Vietnam.
There's a conscious policy to keep from stirring up any kind of broad, hurting any kind of broad sector of the economy, such as the draft would do. The draft worked against the interests of the national security state.
We petitioned, we demonstrated, we sat in. I was willing to get hit over the head, I did. I was willing to go to prison, I did. To me, it was a question of what had to be done to stop the much greater violence that was going on.
The fact that there is no draft hanging over the heads of young people today, there's no question in my mind that has led to tamping down anti-war protests. And there's also no question that was one of the reasons they did it.
They're smart enough to be able to say, the lessons of Vietnam don't apply to Afghanistan.
Did I vote for Obama? Yeah.
Do you think he's kept his campaign promises?
I mean, I'm not entirely convinced, personally.
I think there was some stuff, like just the whole fact that we're still, you know, in war, and he kind of upped the troops in Afghanistan.
No, not a supporter of the wars.
But I am at Hampshire, and I am very peace-loving. I don't think it was right to invade Iraq in the first place.
I don't support the wars.
No, I don't support the wars either.
How am I showing my opposition? Passive dissent. No, you know, like
What good is that?
nothing. I don't do anything.
I have some stickers in my car, like support the troops kind of thing, but otherwise I haven't really done much to oppose the wars.
I don't know. I have a lot on my plate right now, just trying to figure out like my life. I do think people could voice their opinions better.
Even if you don't think about these wars, it doesn't mean that they don't affect you, or the way you're governed, or the way the democratic system is beginning to operate in large parts of the Western world.
In most of these problems around the world, there is no military solution. But the belief in a military solution is easy.
Every time there has been change or policies have been changed, it's because there have been citizens' movements of one sort or the other from below. And simply casting a ballot, as we now realize, is not enough.
Do you support Obama?
Basically, yes. You know, that's a hard question, because how do you support the president without saying you support the whole everything the government? You see what I'm saying?